Hello and welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacey Sims, and these are the top diabetes stories and headlines of the past 7 days. As always, I'm going to link up my sources in the Facebook comments where we are live. We are also live on YouTube and in the show notes at diabetes-connections.com when this airs as an audio podcast. In the News is brought to you by the world's worst diabetes mom, real-life stories of raising a child with diabetes, winner of the American Book Fest Prize for Best New Nonfiction. Available in paperback, on Kindle, or as an audiobook, all at Amazon.com. You can also get a big discount right now at diabetes-connections.com. Use promo code CELEBRATE to save $4. Our top story this week, more good news for mice and maybe someday for people. Yale researchers are looking at an oral medication for type 1 diabetes. These lucky mice had metabolic function restored and inflammation reversed. There are a lot of studies going on to make oral insulin work. Liquid insulin is destroyed in the stomach before it hits the bloodstream. This research involves a nanoparticle drug vehicle that can not only bring insulin to the pancreas safely, but the casing itself has therapeutic benefits. It's made out of an acid that seems to reduce the rogue immune cells that destroy the beta cells in the first place. The team says that the nanoparticles could also be used to carry other molecules, which could help with other conditions. A new tubeless pump is making its way through the U.S. regulatory process. The FDA gives breakthrough device designation to AMF Medical's SIGI insulin management system. This is a patch pump like Omnipod, but it's rechargeable and reusable. You get two, so you don't have to go without while it's charging. It's also an ACE pump that's alternate control enabled, which means it can interact with CGMs and controller devices like smartphones. This designation isn't FDA approval, but it should speed up the review. In the press release, the company says clinical study data has shown that SIGI is delightfully easy to use, which is kind of a nice thing to see in a write-up like this. Big news from the UK this week. They announced everyone in England with type 1 will be eligible for CGMs covered by the National Health Service there. This was preceded by coverage for the Libre flash glucose monitor. That program was supposed to start at 20%. 20% of the type 1 population was the goal, but almost 50% of people with type 1 opted in. And the results in terms of better health and lower A1Cs have really been outstanding. Next up, leaders there say they want CGM covered for anyone using insulin, regardless of diabetes type. New research into insulin pricing is shining a light on the middlemen. Many of us have known about PBMs for a long time. Researchers at USC found that drug makers' share of revenue from insulin sales has dropped in recent years, and a greater share is being siphoned off by pharmacy benefit managers, drugstores, wholesalers, and insurers. In 2014, 30% of insulin revenue went to PBMs. By 2018, it was 53%. Terrific write-up, as usual, by David Lazarus in the LA Times. He lives with type 1. I love his columns. I'm going to link this one up. The researchers here say since the PBMs are getting a greater share, there's pressure on the drug manufacturers to keep raising prices so their own profits don't suffer. It's worth noting that these findings were possible because of newer state laws bringing greater transparency to insulin sales. So what works to bring down the price of insulin? Ask China. They decided a round of price cuts is due, and as a result, 42 insulin products from companies in China and abroad took an average 48% price drop. Otherwise, they would not have been used in that country's public hospitals. Lilly gave up the largest discount. After a 75% reduction, the price of Humalog went down to about $3 per pen. China has been making pharma cut prices for the last few years for other medications. This is the first time insulin has really been affected. Bigfoot Biomedical releases some information and reaction to their Clinic Hub. This is how endos and clinics use the data from the Bigfoot Unity system to support patients. Unity launched this summer. It's their smart pen program. And when you think about multiple daily injections for any type of diabetes, it's hard for healthcare providers to see what's going on day to day. Are doses correct? When are they given? Unity can also include CGM data. This is the launch phase of Clinic Hub. Bigfoot says they've also added streamlined patient onboarding and more flexibility for patient updates and prescription management. I'm including the Vertex news here. We did report on this back in October, but you probably had everybody you know send you that New York Times article about a cure for type 1, at least in one guy. I won't rehash everything here. This is about stem cells, one patient off insulin, but on immunosuppressive drugs. We did report it, as I said a few weeks ago. Personally, I am very hopeful. I think this is great, but the Times write-up, in my opinion, oversimplified a lot of this. Good write-up in Healthline, and I will link to that if you'd like more information. And finally, in the UK, lots of attention on their Strictly Come Dancing competition. When it became apparent, contestant Nikita Kuzmin wasn't hiding the Libre glucose monitor on his arm. He wasn't hiding much. He took off his shirt for this performance. Loads of social media comments applauding him for both taking off the shirt and showing the Libre. By the way, his dance partner, Tilly Ramsey, is the daughter of professional chef Gordon Ramsay. They were eliminated from the show this round. Quick reminder that our long format podcast this week is with the UK co-lead on diabetes, Dr. Partha Carr. We had a great chat about access and their Libre program and his whole philosophy. Really fun episode, I thought. And next week, you're going to hear from the folks at Convatec. You may never have heard of them, but they make almost all of the pump insets available in the United States for every tubed pump. So not Omnipod, but Tandem, Medtronic. Abroad, they make it for Ipsomed. And they have some great info for all of us. You can listen, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. And that's in the news for this week. If you like it, please share it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.